Hey guys, it's Dom. I'm back in the garage. I'm really not working on anything today. I wanted to work on the bike. I got the main jet that I'm gonna put into the carb to see if that'll help fix the wide open throttle stuff. But it's cold and it's raining outside, so he's gonna just have to sit and wait for another day. But I still wanted to come out to the garage and do stuff and feel like manly because I'm in my garage. So I figured I'd talk about a tool that I bought from Amazon that came from China that I had very little expectations for, like little to no expectations. And this thing has quickly become one of my favorite tools that I own in my garage. So this is the Anesty. Anesty 12-volt electric ratchet, and as you can see, it does electric ratchety things. It was $68 from Amazon. I bought it because I'm not a professional, so I have no business spending a large amount of my money on tools that don't help me make money. So the Milwaukee was out. The Harbor Freight Earthquake was the tool that I was probably leaning towards the most, but it only has two tools on that battery platform, and I was not really thinking I wanted to spend $100 and have a battery platform that I only, I have one tool for it. That seems stupid to me. So that led me to Amazon, and while I was doing my Amazon research, there was a brand called Chemo that had a lot of 12-volt tools on there. And so I wanted to get the ratchet. The 12-volt Chemo ratchet seemed like a good idea, but it was like $85. And so I said, no, I'm not going to pay $85 because, for $5 more, I could buy the Earthquake and have a much higher quality tool. Probably. I don't know. I don't have it. But AVE seemed to like it, and this is plastic, and that body is metal, so probably a much higher quality tool. Anyways, I wasn't going to do that. So I kept looking, and I found the Anesty for $68. And I looked at the pictures side by side, all the stuff, and I was convinced that they are the same tool, just this guy is red and black, whereas the Chemo stuff is green and black. Well, I have no problems with the colors of my tools. I don't care. And, most of my tools are red and black anyways, because I have almost exclusively Bauer stuff because I'm a cheap bastard. So anyways, so I went with the Anesty. It came with the tool, and there's some more rain. And it came with 2 batteries and a blow-molded case, a charger, and some silly-looking sockets that, to be honest, I've never used. And I will just throw them in my toolbox and laugh at them when I see them because they just look goofy. I don't know. They're like these little cup-shaped sockets. They seem funny. They look cheap. And they just are goofy. So, haven't used them. The batteries themselves feel kind of cheap. Just cheap plastic feely. But they're also cheap batteries. They're like $10 or $12 on Amazon for a replacement battery. So, what do you expect? What I was not expecting is that I actually love this tool a lot. It does a lot of good work for me. I've used it multiple times. I don't break things loose with it because I don't think that that's what these tools are designed to do. And I don't torque things with them because, again, I don't think that's what this tool is designed to do. I feel like all this tool is designed to do is to zip bolts out and zip bolts in. Especially if it's a hard-to-reach spot where you can't be sitting there doing this guy. You can get it on and just zip it out after you've broken it loose. And with that in mind, this guy has been used and abused and is worth every penny, I think. And if you really break it down, $60 is what I paid. 20 for each battery and 20 for the tool. 2, 4, 6, 60. And you get some funny looking sockets to go with it. And a charger. So, I've liked it. It does everything I need it to do, which is just zip in or zip out. I probably did that backwards. And, you know, the icing on the cake was when I realized that, you know, if I do find some more of the Chemo stuff, because these do feel pretty good. I've been using the Chemo drill on the lowest setting as just like a zipper inner and zipper outer, kind of like I used this guy for like screws. So when I was jetting the carburetor on the 440, and after every ride I had to take off the float bowls and stuff, this guy was just zip, 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 done. So I know they do make like an impact and stuff, the polisher, and they have a lot of tools that are not very expensive. So if I can find some, you know, there is a platform for these batteries, and it's, you know, I've got 2 useful tools that were cheap, you know, together were about the same price as, you know, one of the Harbor Freight tool. And I've got 3 batteries that seem to last forever. So I've got 2 on the charger and then 1 in this guy. Because whenever I'm working, I'm usually working with this guy. The drill, not so much, but then I can use the drill too. Anyways, I'm not talking about the drill now. I haven't used it enough to form an opinion, other than I like the fact that it's green. But this guy here, let me tell you, he is a hard-working tool. I've had it for over 2 months. I have not used and abused it on purpose, but I've used and abused it. A couple weeks ago, I was changing the oil on my girlfriend's car, and I dropped this guy into the oil pan, you know, full of oil, just bloop. And you know what? I didn't clean it off. I just kind of to get it all out, and it still works. It probably makes it work. It probably works even better because it's all nice and lubed. Probably the lighting sucks. You can't see it, but there's still a lot of, you know, whatever her Honda took, fancy synthetic oil on it. But I would buy it again in a heartbeat. If it breaks, I will probably buy another one. Maybe I'll step up to something else a little higher quality if it breaks, but every time I've reached for it, it's been happy to work. You know, the only thing that I didn't like about it, you know, when I was using it in my, I was working on my F-250, the 72, I was taking out the seat, and I kind of set it down like this. I don't know if you can hear it, but it just the way that it was sitting, it had just enough pressure on the trigger, you know, that it was making this horrific noise. And, you know, that's a really minor thing. And I also found out that, you know, there's a little switch right here. If you switch that switch, then that doesn't happen. So, I don't know. It's a cheap Chinese tool that was a pleasant surprise. I was expecting it to be junk, but, you know, it actually works pretty good. I like it. So I would recommend it if you're like me and you're kind of strapped on a budget and want something to feel like, yeah, I got fancy tools, yeah. But also, I didn't pay a lot of money for my fancy tools that really, from a distance, look fancy. Like, doesn't that look kind of like the Milwaukee? I don't know. Anyways, that's all I've got today. It's kind of getting cold, and I'm being a dumbass in shorts and no hat because I left them outside and they got rained on. Shucks. Anyways, I'm going to go. So, like and subscribe.